Hey everyone, Jeff Sorry from the Practical Drummer here. I want to show you an interesting thing that I just thought of not too long ago that I needed to flesh out. It's been on my brain for about a week, so I wrote it out, and it's fairly simple, but it sounds pretty interesting. So it's accenting 3's and 5's using eighth notes with the hi-hat, open hi-hat. So, you know, what I mean by an accent, if I'm playing just a 4/4 groove, using the hi-hat open and closed, open say on a downbeat and close on an and or vice versa, you get this nice crisp psh sound, okay? But when you want to do a polyrhythmic drum beat, you can use 3's and 5's, okay? And so I'm going to show you the 5 first, and then I'll get into the 3. So basically, if I accent every fifth eighth note, I get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Back to 1. Takes 5 measures if I accent every fifth eighth note to get back to 1, okay? So it's a pattern of 5. It takes 5 measures of 4/4. So again, it's if I accent every fourth eighth note, it's right on the beat, right? 1 and 2 and, then it's 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's even. If I accent every fifth though, I'm going to get to 3's in a minute, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Back to 1. Okay, so that's, if you just write out 5 measures of 4/4 with just eighth notes and accent every fifth one, you'll see what I'm talking about visually, okay? So what I want to do though is add it in to a groove. It sounds kind of cool. Instead of just playing, okay, which is fun, if I add a polyrhythmic hi-hat to this, it sounds even funner. So I'm going to use this 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so just basically the 1, the and, a 2, and the 3 on the bass drum. Eighth notes here, and 2 and 4 on the snare drum. So basic, before I get into the accents, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so I want to fit this over top, this accent pattern using 5's over top, okay? So I had to practice this for about 20 minutes to really get it, because sometimes the accent will fall on a bass drum, on a snare drum, on one of the bass drums, on like 1 and 2 and 3, so maybe on the and of 2, so the first of the 2 bass drums. So you really gotta make sure that you can pull this off, so you have to do it slowly first and fumble the ball. But I think I've got it, so here we go. This is what it's going to sound like. I'll play all 5 measures just so you get it, all right? I'll play a couple measures just to get the time going, and then I'll go into this. 1, 2. Here we go. Okay, so all the hi-hats you heard were every fifth eighth note I was accenting. So it's very odd, it's strange, and it takes, again, 5 measures. Now you might not play 5 measure phrases, but you could play 4 measure phrases, and kick it back to 1 and just leave one of the measures out. That's cool too. Or you can make it into a 2 measure phrase. Just pick any 2 of the measures of those 5 and create a 2 measure phrase, and that's kind of a cool groove too. I'll just do one off the cuff here. the third and the fourth measure were the accents on the 3 in that measure, and then the next measure is the and of 1 and the 4. That would sound like this. Let's see if I can get it. 1, 2. Okay, so I didn't hit the and of 1 on that last one. I was going to hit the and of 1 and then do a fill, but my brain got ahead of me, okay? But I did it perfectly for those 3 measures, or 6 measures, because it's a 2-measure phrase, right? So that sounded kind of interesting. And, you know, you could do it up on the bell. You could play it over here on a different sound source, you know, and keep the left foot going. Something like that. You could do it up here on the bell. You know, something like that, okay? So you can articulate this in so many different ways. So let me show you the 3's now, and then I'm going to make an 8-measure phrase, because the 3's are similar to this, but now instead of every 5th eighth note, I'm every 3rd eighth note, right? So it's going to be the dotted quarter note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 1 and 2 and 3 and. 3 measures. Again, groups of 3's takes 3 measures of 4/4 to resolve itself back to 1. So again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? Same groove. Okay? Different hi-hat pattern. Here we go. I'll just get it going. Here we go. Here we go. So I missed the end of 3 there. Okay, just wanted to point that out. I had it perfect, and I missed the last and of 3, which would have then would go back to 1. Okay, so I did it for 2.5 measures, pretty great. I missed the end of 3, so I'm going to start it over again. Slow it down a little bit. That's the hallmark of my playing. I want to make sure we get it perfectly so we're not fudging it, okay? I knew I made a mistake, and I want to figure out why. I missed the end of 3. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there it was a couple times. I realized that a trouble spot for me, I wanted it to go with the bass drum in the last measure, the 3rd measure. 1, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. I wanted to go and 1, but that's not the pattern. If it was, then it was, you know, it would be. But for me, I wanted, if I say I'm going to do a pattern and I get off it, I knew I did, okay? So that first time through, I think I added the end of 4 there at the end, which is not a big deal, but I knew I was doing it, and so the next time through I made it perfect. Now we can bring the tempo up. Now that I have it, here it is. So I just messed that up, right? There it was. Okay. So again, you can articulate that in all different ways. You could do it over here. That sounds kind of cool, right? I could bring it up on the bell. You could do this on toms if you wanted to, right? So doesn't matter. Okay, so I want to put these together though. All right, I'm not going to show you a fill on this one. I'm going to show you a 5-note grouping fill on the next video to augment this. But I'm going to show you putting the 5 you know, 5 measures of 5 together plus the 3 measures of 3 makes 8 measures of 4/4. So I'm going to play it for you right now, okay? Hopefully getting it right on the first pass. Let's get a good tempo. 1, 2. Let's do that again. All right, so you can see the first time I pressed play, I didn't have it. The train fell off the tracks, okay? But then I buckled down and really thought about it and did it. So the trick again is to keep the right foot going on this ostinato, right? 1, 2, and 3, while all these accents are floating over on top. So that presents a major challenge. When you're playing the left foot and playing it over here, it's a lot easier. Now you've got to train yourself to be able to play the left foot on quarter notes or on the ands. That would be kind of interesting too. Or some variation like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You could splash the ands, right? Why don't I try that? Splash the ands. So I'm going foot down and then splash with my heel. I'm hitting the bottom of the pedal with my heel and it creates that splash. But then I close on the next, you know, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Here we go. So that was pretty right on. I missed a couple bass drums. I think a couple of the 3s. You know, I missed a couple bass drums in there, so I'd have to rewind the tape to see exactly which ones. But for this sake, it doesn't matter, right? So I was just trying something new on the fly, on real time. I'd never tried that before, and I was trying to get my brain to integrate it, right? I did it with quarter notes, but not with the splash thing, so that adds another dimensionality to your playing, is when you can get a polyrhythm going, but also do some different things with your left foot while you're playing and not tethered to this, you know, this style of drumming. I could also try to play it with my left hand, right? Let's try that. So, you know, I just tried that on live camera. I hadn't tried that before either. You know, trying to play with the left hand and put the right hand on the snare drum, right? So that takes a different level of coordination as well. But as you do that, you start to open up different possibilities and creativity in your drumming, okay? So take that to the bank and practice this up. Share this video. Hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.